welcoming you Gooshbagz to the Week 12 edition of the 2021 Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League podcast. As always, I am the host, the hostess with the mostest, the commissioner of the Gooshbagz Fantasy Football League, Jason Peck. And what a great week it was. Unfortunately, it wasn't as great for me, but that is this guy's fault. I am here with your boy, Andrew Kortze. Andrew, wait a minute. I got something for you.
Uh-oh. What? Oh. Thank you. Please. I want to thank everyone that made this possible. That would be Darnell Mooney. Thank you to Darnell Mooney and the Red Rocket, Andrew Dalton.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a little more than Darnell Mooney that took you to the victory this week, but yes, he was definitely a big part of it. So yeah, how you doing, Andrew?
Not too bad. We chatted a little about this before, but I do not feel as confident as an 8-4 team probably should, especially considering the recent news that is quite unsurprising, is that Chubba Hubba is going to be leading the squad for the rest of the year because CMC is buttocks, and that's about all there is to it.
Yeah, and actually something I realized I didn't put in the injuries. Darrell Henderson also potentially got hurt, right? He's your running back too.
What was it, 3 weeks ago? I was like, all right, I am in such a good spot with running backs. I've got CMC, Henderson, Chubb in the Chubb. Okay, yeah. And then now one's on the bye and the other two are hurt. I guess I do have Michelle, so that's fine. I mean, but he's nothing special, so just got to hope he falls his fat self into the end zone.
You can never have too much running back depth. We definitely have learned that this year, as we were saying earlier. Like, literally from top to bottom, like entire running back core in general has just been decimated. So on that note, that's a great transition. But we got a lot of injuries to go through this week. Yeah, go ahead, Kortze. What were you gonna say?
This is how I felt looking at the waiver wire on Tuesday, seeing that I might have to pick up Rex Burkhead to fill my running back 2 slot this week.
Anytime you're reaching out for a Houston Texans running back, you're in trouble, especially when it's like the 3rd or 4th string back from the team.
Gosh, yeah. So instead, I've got Boston Scott, one of the 4 running backs in that. Like that could just crew of running backs in the backfield for the Eagles. It's rough times.
We don't even know if Jordan Howard or Miles Sanders is playing. Like they could be, they could not be.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, they definitely aren't throwing to Dallas Goedert, who I spent the remainder of my fab on. So I just have to hope that they just continue to only run.
Since our trade deadline is coming up in 2 days, I was actually looking at somebody to potentially trade my tight end 2 with Dawson Knox, who has been killing it.
Yes.
But I'm looking for a wide receiver, of course. And you know as well as I do that neither of us has wide receiver depth at all.
Oh my gosh, man! We could go back to the trade that I thought was going to get me some of that depth. The trade with one Neal for Emmanuel Sanders, who the first week after I acquired him put up a goose, and it hasn't improved much since then. And to make matters worse, I will give them this: he offered me James Conner, and initially I was like, you know what? I'm okay at running back. I need some wide receiver depth, so I convinced him to give me Emmanuel Sanders instead, and I just dropped him for Boston Scott. That's going.
To be fair,
and I'm playing him this week, and he's got Madison, who I gave to him for Sanders. So it is an absolute disaster right now.
I mean, you had 3 or 4 starting running backs and their backups on your team, so it's really understandable that you didn't need any more running backs. Here we are, needing both running backs and wide receivers.
Yeah. I just say it's just we're just screwed. That's all there is to it.
All right, time to get sad again. No
Okay.
more
Yeah.
laughing.
Sorry. Too
All
much
right.
laugh. Sad.
Unfortunately, we're gonna start with the big news. As you mentioned, Christian McCaffrey had an ankle injury and is now on his second stint on IR, which means he's out for the year. So, Chubba Hubba, Dubba Bubba will be running true to their name, I suppose, with Chuba Hubbard leading the backfield. We also have the other big running back that got hurt this week was DeAndre Swift. I guess there are a couple more running backs that got hurt.
Really?
He has, I believe DeAndre Swift had an AC joint sprain, and he may or may not play this week. So that's a possibility. We'll have to keep an eye out for him. Yeah. And then unfortunately, I'm pretty sure Jamal Williams is already owned in our league. So, like I said, more players owned in our league that we couldn't pick up on waivers.
Kudos to
the other
everyone for picking up the backups for all of their players. That's actually kind of commendable. Leaving Rex Burkhead and Boston Scott on waivers. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I would have any fab money to pay for any of the good running backs anyway. But I digress.
Basically out. And yes, the last big running back that got hurt this week was Dalvin Cook, who had not only a dislocated shoulder, but also potentially tore his AC. I believe he had already torn his other one earlier this year. So he's got both of his shoulders. He has torn ACs. And he may be out for a couple weeks, I guess, is what they're saying. He may be back for a playoff run or something, but Neil's not going to the playoffs. So, and he tried to get rid of Dalvin Cook before this happened, but nobody took him up on the offer. So I doubt he's going to get traded now.
And two days until the deadline, you said? Is that
2 days until the deadline. The deadline is December 3rd.
Okay.
Yep. 2 a.m. So actually, maybe it's just one full day, I think.
Oh, okay.
Midnight,
the morning of the 3rd.
Yeah, or like 2 in the morning. I'll have to double check that. I looked this morning.
Just wondering, yeah, because Adam told me that the deadline was today.
Yes.
As he was trying to trade me what's CEH for Chubb. So
straight up.
If I had accepted that, I realized that I would have ended up trading away CEH for Claypool, and then trading away Justin Jefferson, and then trading for CEH again with the player that I got for Justin Jefferson. So that would just I would need to retire from fantasy if I accepted that. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
I basically end up trading Claypool for trading away Justin Jefferson for CEH, which I could not come back from mentally. So.
Or trading Justin Jefferson for Chase Claypool.
Exactly. Either one. I mean, even trading him for Chubb is not looking too great right now. So, not all of my trades just fell flat this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I guess I only had 1 or 2 trades in this league, so I can't really complain too much about my trades not going through because I did trade Dalvin Cook for Jonathan Taylor.
That was quite exceptional.
That was lucky for me, but the other ones, I traded Damian Harris and Michael Pittman for AJ Brown, thinking that he was going to tear the second half, and then Derrick Henry got hurt, and the entire Tennessee offense fell to crap. So
yeah, I mean that was a good buy low opportunity though, and sell high on those other guys too. So I mean, when you have that kind of opportunity, it's not a bad shot to take. It's just like you said, it was just King Henry carrying that whole team on his back, basically.
I know, yeah. And when he got hurt, the entire team fell apart.
Yeah.
But well, we got one more lesser potential injury for the running back position. Zeke apparently might be like kind of banged up. It doesn't seem like he's going to miss it all, but they were saying that they might limit his snaps or something in the next game or two. I think he's been fighting through some sort of knee issues or I don't know, something.
Yeah, something weird. I didn't really understand what was going on with that. They were like, oh, maybe we'll sit him. And then he said, I'll be
Yeah.
okay. Like, I'm fine if they sit me. Like, I was like, what's going on?
Nobody's
So,
actually approached me about limiting snaps or sitting me
yeah,
or anything like that. So yeah, it
exactly.
definitely was a strange situation.
Yeah, no, I think he's fine because then he'll just spend the rest of his time streaming Warzone on Twitch, which,
That's
yeah,
probably
you
true.
know,
Is that what he
every
does?
do. Apparently, yeah, I've heard some clips. Like they'll play it on the Dallas radio, um,
Oh,
various shows. Like there's a clip where he forgot to turn his stream off, and he was talking to his buddy that was in the room, and he was like, "Oh, what did he say?" It's like, "Oh man, I'm so faded, bro," or something like that. Then he was like, "Oh no, I forgot to turn off the stream." So
now is the old THC legal down there in Texas? Do you know?
I don't think so. I don't think it is yet. Similar or same with sports gambling actually. So I still can't do any sort of daily fantasy,
Right.
um, any sort of betting on sports in Texas, and I guess that's going to be not even discussed again for another couple of years. And I don't think that yeah, I don't think you can acquire any edibles yet either.
Yeah.
So
So
staying
Zeke,
conservative as ever, I suppose. But
yeah, Zeke was in the wrong with his faded. That, that's why I was.
made for a good sound bit, though, I will say.
Yeah, exactly. So, I guess let's see what else do we got here in the injuries. There were so many this week. It's not very good.
Oh, did you
Darren
say
Wall.
Debo? Debo
Yeah,
Samuel? He's
I'm
okay.
working. Yeah, working down the list here. Yeah, we got Debo with a groin injury. He might be out a couple weeks. I think that's kind of what he was. He hasn't been hurt this year, but I think last year he was out for a while. I think it was a groin injury.
Yeah, that's kind of when Ayuk sort of took off. I think was when he got hurt. So
Yeah,
it
and
makes
he's
your pickup
hoping. Oh, yeah,
timely
that's
right now. I
huge.
will say.
Yeah, he was hoping that Ayuk does pull through for me. Uh, and then, yeah, Darren Waller has a strained IT band, is what I saw online. I already forgot what that was because I looked it up yesterday.
It's only something
Uh,
you find behind the TV.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe he's got his wires crossed or something, and behind the TV. But I don't know if this means he was going to miss any time. I don't know. To be honest, let's see. Let's take a
Who else
look.
do they have? Well, I guess they have my man Hunter Renfro to throw the
Yeah.
ball to. So
Are you starting him this week? You
yeah,
should.
I think I have to because I've got to put a wide receiver in flex because I've got. At one point, I had both Henderson and Michelle as my RBs 1 and 2 because I just didn't have anyone else. But now
Yeah.
I've got Boston Scott to save the day. So
Yes, it looks like Darren Waller is in fact doubtful for this week.
oh
So
wow, dang,
yeah. So there you go. Hunter Renfro might be
I'm
a spot.
very sad to hear that.
You're gonna YOLO him out there again.
It's all it is at this point. Like I said, how I'm 8-4 just is mind-boggling to me.
You're
Like
making smart moves, man. You're finding those players that can give you some good weeks. It's making it hard for the rest of us. You're picking up all the good players off of waivers. So
well, and then I'm either trading them away for crap or letting them go, and I shouldn't be. So it's like if I had just not touched my roster from the beginning of the season, and like maybe one or two moves here. Well, I guess I'd still have CEH as my RB too. So never mind.
I'm taking up, or I grabbed up Van Jefferson this week after
Oh,
his
okay.
after your roster. Wasn't he on your roster like
Mm-hmm. I think he had at least 2 or 3 stints on my roster. I had a revolving door of wide receivers going there for a while, but yeah, I like that pickup because I mean, OBJ is at the moment not cutting it. So.
I need something, man. My wide receivers need a shot to the arm a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
So I need anything that can get me above 5 points.
How did we get to this point? It's like wide receivers are supposed to be like, they're just there to kind of, be fun, volatile assets for your team. But at this point, we're getting screwed by them.
Yeah, you're supposed to get a boom week every once in a while, but I never seem to pick the right guys to boom.
Yeah, that is where I've lucked out last couple of weeks with Mr. Mooney, our wide receiver 1 for the greatest offense that
To be
Chicago's
fair,
seen.
you picked him up like not even 15 minutes before I went to the waiver wire. It's like I was gonna grab him last Friday because I knew that Allen Robinson wasn't playing, and it was a pretty good matchup for this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you picked him up Friday morning. I was gonna pick him up like 15 minutes later or something.
And that's right. Okay, I remember you saying that now. Yeah. I don't know. I had the feeling. I was like, the Lions are coming up. They're Garbo. Might as well. Again, perfect YOLO opportunity.
Friday. I guess it was Wednesday after waivers because they played on Thursday. So, so yeah, I just remember it being before the game. Like, yeah, I think you grabbed him Wednesday. I thought of it as a Friday because it was my last day at work that week. But
no, you're right. You're right. I've had him for two weeks now. 2 games.
What, really?
The Lions one was the second game. Yeah. So you're right.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Fridays are good though.
On the timeline.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the last kind of injury news is Matt Stafford. I don't think he's in danger necessarily of missing anything, but he's been like, I think specifically this last week, he's been like more and more banged up as the season goes on. I knew he used to have a back issue. I think that's kind of a chronic thing. I don't think that was more of a one-time thing. So I think he's kind of feeling that again. It seemed like he was I watched the Rams play last week, and because they played against the Packers there. But it looked like as the game went on, he was kind of looking more and more like he was feeling pain. So
it's just been bad. I mean, not to say that Robert Woods is not one of the greatest receivers in the game or anything, but it would definitely seem like it based on how that offense has just fallen off a cliff since he's gotten hurt. But I think you're right. I think it's kind of coincided with Stafford being banged up too.
Potentially. I mean, Robert Woods, although he didn't make a huge fantasy impact all the time, like he was a consistent player, but not necessarily, because you had him. But I mean, I think he was a really vital part of that offense because he kind of displayed the abilities to both run the ball on, some what are they called? The kind of not reverses, but the end arounds. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A game, and like he just had a versatility. He took snaps out of the backfield, and like so now they don't really do that. Van Jefferson is kind of replacing that a little bit. But also Van Jefferson is more of a deep shot sort of guy as opposed to kind of the short yardage that Robert Woods was. So I don't know. I think hoping that OBJ will kind of fit that mold, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think he's too keen on run blocking, at least not as much as Robert Woods was. So what can you do? We can't all be the fantasy gods that Robert Woods was.
Exactly. Yeah. Next year he'll be back.
That's right. Oh yeah, he's lined up, gonna get that keeper value with Robert Woods.
2022, baby.
Just gonna have the whole Rams offense again. Adam pointed that out to me. It's like, that's true.
Yeah. So, all right. Speaking of Adam, unfortunately,
can you play the sad music, please?
Yeah.
There it is. Oh, God.
Adam.
Not another one.
You finally put up a good week, and you scored 151.3 fantasy points. Good work, I suppose. I
am just for that. I am picking against him this week. Just for the record.
Sounds good. I like it. I like it. All right. We have spent enough time talking about Adam scoring the most points of the week. Let us move on to slightly better news for you, worse news for me. Our matchup reactions for this last week, week 12. So obviously our first matchup, my team formerly known as Owen Tree versus Chubba Hubba Dubba Bubba. Chubba Hubba Dubba Bubba, you guys put up 108.2 fantasy points to my measly 86.34. And at 6-6, I've lost 2 in a row, and things are getting worse since I can't get my wide receivers in check.
When I saw Kittle, I kept checking every quarter or so because we didn't get the Niners and Vikings game, but who else is Garoppolo throwing to if not him? Because I mean, Debo's taking snaps out of the backfield now, and
Yeah,
so who else are you
Debo
throw? I
only
guess
got,
Ayuk, but
yeah, Debo only got like 1 or 2 targets that game. It was mostly they just ran the ball. Like I think Elijah Mitchell got like 27 rushes that game, and then yeah, like Debo got like 3 or 4, and then I don't know if Jeff Wilson I think got a few, but like yeah, I mean they just didn't pass the ball at all this last week. But now that Debo's out, I feel like I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I think George Kittle and Brandon Ayuk both have the opportunity to just go nuts the next couple weeks. Hopefully.
yeah, it's a pretty good schedule coming up. They got Jaguars and Detroit or something like that. Or
Yeah,
maybe the Falcons. I can't remember. But
yeah, the playoffs are really good.
mm.
Let's see here. Yeah, let me take a look at George Kittle.
Yeah, while you're doing that, I was going to mention that for what like this week seemed like one of those weeks where and this feels like every week in fantasy is one way or the other. Either your team is getting like seemingly all the breaks, and the players on the other team are for whatever reason just aren't putting up numbers like Kittle in this case, or it's flip flop where it's your team that sucks and whatever. But I mean, like with Dalton Schultz getting like the last minute 30-yard score plus the 2-point conversion, Darrell Henderson getting a touchdown on like one of 2 passes that he got the whole game, like that kind of thing where like sometimes it just goes your way, and I feel like I've gotten that the last couple of games, but I think my luck's about to run out as the revenge game against Madison and Neal is this weekend. So
it's true. Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I mean, to be honest, my team did not do like only a couple of vital pieces did bad this week for my team. So like I didn't have anybody like boom, and I only had like 1 or 2 guys bust. I had Jonathan Taylor was the closest to like being a stud this week. He had 17.7 fantasy points, which is a down game for him, but I can't really fault him for that.
It's crazy to say
then,
that's just
like you said,
mediocre for him now.
I know, I know. Like you said, George Kittle kind of had a rough game, and then Tom Brady just didn't have to do anything because Leonard Fournette did everything in that game, and that drove me insane.
38 points, and you only throw 1 score. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you were watching. Did you watch that game?
No. When was that? Was that Sunday night?
No, it was
Okay,
it was
yeah, I don't.
afternoon. Oh no, it might have been in the morning even.
Was it? Okay, yeah, I don't think I did that.
But like, yeah, no, it definitely was morning because I had it on Red Zone. I was watching with Benaya. Shout out to Benaya. Benaya was at my house.
Fantastic.
This weekend. But yeah, we were watching, and I was just every single time that the Bucks got in the red zone, he threw into the end zone, and they got a defensive PI, and then they had the ball at the 1 yard line, and Leonard Fournette would run the ball in. I was like, and Ronald Jones. There were 4 rushing touchdowns and 1 passing touchdown to Leonard Fournette, and that was it. That was the whole game, and that drove me nuts because like every single time he threw it into the end zone, it was as a defensive PI. I was like,
yeah, that's when fantasy is just like, what can you do? Because like the play was there, the pass went in the end zone, but then yeah, it's like what can you do if it just gets placed at the 1, and the 45-year-old man probably is not going to be the one that's sneaking it in. I mean, well, he has in the past. I shouldn't say that, but when your back's got 4 TDs on the day, then
it was frustrating. But yeah, so he only got me 11 fantasy points, and like the last 3 weeks with him have been frustrating. But he's got Atlanta this week, and earlier this year he tore him up for like 4 or 5 touchdown passes. So hopefully I get another one of those this week. But we'll move on to greener pastures. Your team, we had Josh Allen who put up a big game this week with 26.7 fantasy points. It's about time. He's been having a rough time as of late.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I guess only a couple of bad weeks here, but
and nothing that's like nothing that would like kill your team. except for like week 9 when he only got 9 points against the Jags. But yeah, not a third round pick QB type value.
Right.
But
But he's the quarterback one of the year still, I believe, especially
is he? Okay.
He's the top quarterback of the year. But I think this has been a down year in general for quarterbacks because I think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but essentially I think a lot of defenses are playing cover 2 shell to stop, so they're playing a couple of guys back to stop the big plays.
Mm-hmm.
So there haven't been as many bombs down the field completed, and that takes a lot away from the quarterback value.
Yeah, agreed. You see the defensive setups right now, and it does seem like you've got guys at like the edge of your screen that they're playing like 20 yards downfield just to keep everything in front of them. And I think you're right. Well, that on top of that, Kyler Murray's he's been hurt, and I think he was leading the way for quite a while. So if he hadn't gotten hurt, then he would probably still be number 1 right now. But
actually, Tom Brady was number 1 until like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Brady was really wow.
Yeah,
and
but yeah, no, you're right though. If Kyler had stayed healthy the entire year, he'd definitely be pushing for number 1 as well. But yeah, I mean, Tom Brady just got off to a fast start, and I was stoked about having him. It's my whole team. My whole team got off to a fast start, and now they're all doing terrible. Frustrating, but enough lamenting. I told myself I'd stop lamenting.
Hey, if you were 0-3 at one point, and then you came back and you were the second seed or something like that a couple weeks ago. So it's just some volatile swings in your season. So I mean, I think you might be heading back up the right direction this weekend.
If Ayuk leads me to a title, I might have to buy his jersey or something. Let's see.
And then I need to quit fantasy for drafting him and then dropping him, and then yeah, perfect.
It was perfectly reasonable to drop him because he hadn't done anything until like the last 2 weeks or something. So
yeah, he was pretty bad, but that's right. Looking good now.
All right. Yeah, well, on your duds side here, you did have Christian McCaffrey, like we were talking about. That's not a fault of his own. He did get injured relatively soon into the game, and then this one is his fault. Nick Chubb, I think, played the whole game, right? And he got 4.9 fantasy points. I think Cleveland just kind of sucked that game, but they got against Seattle, didn't they? Or did they? I don't know.
Baltimore. It was
play Baltimore?
Yeah.
That was it. 10-16 to Baltimore. That was what it was.
Yeah, they kept showing graphics on how the Browns haven't beaten the Ravens in 5 decades or whatever, and yeah, it was bad. Well, and Kareem Hunt was back too, so he was getting a fair share of the snaps.
That was the Sunday night game, right?
Yeah, you're right. That was Sunday night. Yeah, it was bad. That's why Chuba is the real Chubba in Chubba Hubba Dubba. Not True that. So, not that Chuba is very good either, but
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and then the only other thing that devastated me, like you said, was that Dalton Schultz touchdown on Thanksgiving. That was rough, and especially because earlier in the game he had it. I don't know if you watched, how much of that game you actually watched, but he had a called back touchdown earlier in the game too. So
really?
Yeah, he caught one, and I was like, oh no, I'm in trouble. And then I saw the flags had come down, and there were 2 offensive penalties on. Yeah, I was like, yes. So I was like stoked, and he was sitting there at like 1 or 2 points for the day, and then with 3 minutes left in the game, he scores this 30-yard touchdown.
And then I only watched like the first few minutes of the first quarter, and then we had dinner. So I didn't really watch much after that. But when I think when I can't remember if it was like later on the night we were playing a game or something, and I glanced at my phone, and I had checked at halftime and saw he had 1 catch or something. I was like, crap. But then I think I saw your Facebook message that said you get are you serious? 2 minutes left in the game, and he gets the touchdown, the 2-point conversion or whatever. And that's how I found out about it, because I was like, I was just writing it off that Well, I shouldn't have started him. I should have started Goddard or Logan Thomas or one of my other five tight ends that I've got sitting on my bench right now. But
You're sitting around with all the tight ends and all the backup running backs. How do you get this many people on your roster?
I'm telling you, everyone's got those IR slots filled right now, and it's just absolute slim pickings on the waivers right now.
It really is. It really is.
Man.
All right, we should move on to matchup number 2. This one was kind of one of the sadder matchups of the week. We have Ferris Bueller, You're My Hero versus Rock the Hawk. And Rock the Hawk won. He only scored 89.7 fantasy points to Ferris Bueller's 62.12. Oh, I apologize.
This is the late night pod, by the way, everyone. So we're like 3 in the morning. We're up just slaving away on. Yeah.
You guys are welcome, man. No, I woke up at like I don't know how early you normally wake up, but this is super early for me. I woke up at 5 a.m. to go play basketball.
Yeah, that's pretty early.
Yeah, I've been doing it recently, and people tell you that exercising in the morning gives you energy throughout the day. That's a load of bull. It's true. It may give you energy for like a couple hours, but then the afternoon just drags.
It's like when you pull an all-nighter. You have that burst of adrenaline from like, oh, it's cool that I stayed up all night and whatever, and then you just absolutely collapse. So
yes,
no, it's just the fact that we're old. That's why we don't get that shot of adrenaline through the rest of the day for exercising. So
I know. Yeah, I mean, people say that it gets better, but I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and it's
it's not getting better.
No. Just making me tired and irritated. All right.
I was just gonna say the best part about this matchup for me was that, first of all, I think we can give we can let Ryo have this one just because it was his birthday. So happy birthday, Ryo. So that's cool. But also I found it interesting that we had the battle of the guy who changes his team name almost every week versus the guy that hasn't changed his team name despite no longer having the player after which he named his team. So I thought that was two immovable objects facing each other in this game.
Yeah, which one was worse? I don't know. I
like the every week changing the name. That's kind of creative. Like for you, it's got to be tough because you got to keep track of it for the pod. But
yeah,
it gives me a chuckle every time I see James has changed his name.
True. Yeah. Fortunately, he hasn't changed it the past like 2 or 3 weeks, so I've been able to stick with Ferris Bueller, You're My Hero for a few weeks now. But yeah, Rock the Hawk. I think really all he does each week, and I still don't know if he is even checking his lineup.
He left his kicker in on a bye and still got the dub. That's a flex right there.
Yeah, well, and also Alvin Kamara technically hasn't been like ruled out until like day of or day before for most each week, and he's kept Alvin Kamara sitting in his IR spot. So I don't think you can make any. You're not allowed to make any roster changes until you pull ineligible people out of your IR spot.
Right.
So
okay.
I don't think he's touched his lineup for a good 2 or 3 weeks.
So like it's fine. I'll worry about it when we get to the playoffs.
Exactly. Yeah, that's all he cares about. I mean, to be fair, he's kind of gliding into the playoffs, so I guess that's up to him. But yeah, there really wasn't any studs this week. I'd count AJ Dillon there as a stud. He had a great game, 17.5 fantasy points.
Mm-hmm.
That was Myles Gaskin. I'm sorry, on the side for Rock the Hawk, he had 18.2 fantasy points on 2 touchdowns. Good work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He scored 2 touchdowns and only got 18 fantasy points. I feel like maybe that's not a great game, but he just fell in the end zone twice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the Dolphins' offense. Well, I mean, they were going through crap. What's the tight end guy's name for them? Well, they've got like 3 of them. But yeah, Gesicki. That's right. They were kind of running the offense through him for a while, but then Tua came back and Tua can't throw. So
he's been doing okay, but yeah, better
than before, I guess.
I think actually Tua targets I mean, I think Gesicki was doing better with Jacoby Brissett because backup quarterbacks tend to rely on tight ends a little bit more because they're usually closer to the line of scrimmage. But I think Tua is actually throwing the ball down the field more, and he's been throwing it to like Jalen Waddle. And I don't know if Devontae Parker's been back, but he's been throwing it more to Mac Hollins, I think, is a wide receiver that has been. Yeah, he's been he's been throwing it down the field more, I think, as opposed to Gesicki being a little closer to the line of scrimmage. So
yeah, that makes sense.
That they'd be doing better, but yeah, I think backups tend to hyper target the running backs and the tight ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. Man, Dolphins wide receivers didn't think that we would have a mini segment on them this week, but here we are.
They're back, or they're here for the first time, I should say. All right, the duds on Ferris Bueller. There were many. Let's just power through them. Najee Harris, 5.2 points. That's kind of a disappointing game from him. We got Tyler Higbee with 0.8 fantasy points, very close to that goose. Just one catch and 3 yards away from a goose. Man, too bad I didn't get. Yeah, you drafted him.
Yep. So there we go. Represent.
Yeah, there you go. Well, good thing you got rid of him because he's not doing anything good. Chris Godwin, who had a disappointing game, but like we said, this was all the run game over there in Tampa Bay. He had 2.7 fantasy points, and we do get to use. You hear that?
Coming from out yonder.
It's a goose. We have the Dallas defense, who surprisingly got 0 fantasy points versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's right. Yeah. Oh, they're in Wallerless after the first quarter, I think. Raiders. He got hurt. Maybe it was the second quarter. Can't remember, but yeah, they still got lit up.
Yeah, well, Deshaun Jackson had to take up the mantle and score like a 50-yard touchdown or whatever.
Okay. That's what they've been bemoaning on in Dallas the last few days. I've been going back and forth between listening to 670 in Chicago and the ticket in Dallas. Depending on which local teams are doing worse, that's usually like the best listen throughout the day. So like when the Bulls like have a terrible loss or something, or I guess the Mavs recently have been really just absolutely brutal. So okay. Sorry, we're getting into non-football right now. So
all good. Yeah, on Rock the Hawk side, I guess we have a couple of duds, not as many, obviously, because Lamar Jackson only put up 9.4 fantasy points. Very surprising. He had 4 interceptions, so that's crazy. We have Mike Evans, who only put up 3.1 fantasy points. All the wide receivers for Tampa Bay just kind of sucked this week. Yeah. And then he just didn't have a kicker, so I can't even play the goose because he didn't play. Yeah. So, I mean, that's about enough from that matchup. Everybody else average. Not a scoring week. This week in general,
as Fisk would say.
Yes, it was just kind of a run-of-the-mill week this week, as Fisk would say. One of our favorite teachers from the old Lutheran high school.
All right, Rockford area 61114 zip code high school.
Yes. Confirmed. Darn right. Is it the only 61114 high school, or
Guilford's got to be close? I was hoping that Guilford is in it or close. So that was really who I was.
There you go. Here, singling out Guilford. Half our league went to Guilford. You know that, right?
Wait. Sorry, what did you say?
I said half our league went to Guilford.
Yep. Guilford and Auburn. Those fools.
Yes, indeed. All right, on to matchup number 3. We've got Team IR, formerly Team IR, now named 2 in a row. Yes, I think he's just jinxing himself for this week. We're gonna have to see about that. Versus Deshaun's happy endings, and now Team IR. Hey, wait a minute. This calls for a celebration.
Let's get it going.
Woo! Got his first victory this week.
I will tell you what. So this was like really the only really close game on Monday night, and I think he needed like 4 points from Russ going into the second half to win, and he was at 99% chance to win whatever, and 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he's down by half a point or something like that, and I was like, no, there's no way it can happen. And then, because if Russ had thrown a pick at any point on that final drive, then that would have been it. But he managed to get, and he got the touchdown, and it was over. But yeah, I was like, no, there's no way.
They were trying to put up a long bomb to try to, at the end of the game, like a bomb at the end of the game. If that's a pick, that's 2 points gone. So
that'd have been the worst beat. But no, I'm excited. That's huge. First dub.
Yes, and it's big for the playoff implications. It definitely helps out a lot of the people who are 1 or 2 games back now, because I think Deshaun's happy endings would have been 8. I think he would have 8 wins, 8 and 4.
Yeah, I think you're right. 8 and 4. Yeah.
So that knocks him back down to with everybody else, within a game or 2 of everybody else. So I guess 8 and 4. Somebody else is already still at 8 and 4, right? You're at 8 and 4, right?
Yeah.
And Adam and Benaiah, all 3 of you. So
really?
Yeah,
wow,
I guess that would have put him at 8 and 4 as well. But I guess that wouldn't have been that much different than everybody else. It would have just been a tougher climb for me and for James and for Ryo to potentially. It's basically us now. Me, James, Ryo, and Chad that are kind of fighting for those last 3 spots. So there's 4 of us.
Okay.
We'll get into this here during the standings segment here, but we'll keep fighting for these spots, man.
It's going down to the wire.
It is. All right. Sorry. Back to this matchup. We've got 2 in a row. Yes, versus Deshaun's happy endings, and yeah, like we said, first victory for Brandon's team. Good work. You're no longer officially tanking. You're unofficially tanking now.
Even with the Raiders' defense against the Cowboys in Dallas, I can respect that. That's
I guess I gave the goose.
Play.
Yeah, I guess I gave the goose for Dallas's defense, but technically they were the better defense in this. So
true.
Yeah, -3 fantasy points for the Vegas D, and he overcame it with Josh Jacobs putting up 18.2 fantasy points.
Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Yeah, Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt. You're darn right.
Mm-hmm.
And then Russell Wilson put up 19, so not too great, but it was enough. He was the last player to play, like you said. Had that touchdown at the end to put him well over the top. But yeah. It was a close one for sure, and it was definitely worth monitoring throughout Monday night.
Good times. Big dub.
Big dub. On the other hand, on Deshaun's happy endings, we did have Daniel Carlson. Boom, the kicker, putting up 21 fantasy points this week. Man, he almost pulled it out because of that. Matt Stafford also had 21 fantasy points, 21.98. And those are kind of big games.
33 points from defense and kicker. That's you'd feel good about your chances if you were told that you're going to get 33 points from your defense and kicker that week.
Well, when you get when you get a goose.
What's that?
A goose from CeeDee Lamb. That doesn't really help. I mean, but he didn't
probably did
it. So
did he get hurt? I honestly
think he was going into the game. I don't think he played.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He got hurt last game. So Chad was like, "Man, just gonna throw him out there, and he's gonna inspire the rest of the squad."
Yeah. Who knows if he actually checked his lineup or not? But he definitely didn't on Thursday morning. So I think he was questionable all week because he was in the concussion protocol. So.
Oh, right.
Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's about it for I think this matchup. Cooper Kupp had a decent game, no touchdowns. But in the duds category, I guess DeAndre Swift got hurt, so you can't really say much. Devonta Smith only had 3.2 fantasy points, but Philadelphia's offense had time this week. So, and Kyle Pitts, I would consider Kyle Pitts as somebody who is currently busting for this year. He had a great couple of weeks at the beginning of the year, but then after he's been this mid single digits every single week.
Yeah, he had that one game where he went over 150 yards or something, but since then he hasn't been able to get to double-digit fantasy points.
Technically back-to-back games because he had to bye in the middle of them, but back-to-back games.
Oh, right.
22.4 and then 19.8 fantasy points, and then besides that, everything else has been in single digit.
It's because Mr. Cordarrelle Patterson, the pickup of the year, just turning the Falcons into a running team, even when they're down 30 points every game. So,
yeah, well, him and not having Calvin Ridley, I think actually defenses have been putting their top corner on Kyle Pitts. So he's been shut down all year because playing top end corners. So yeah, we'll see how that all goes. But
when analysts say that such and such number one receiver is out, so that means this guy's going to have all the targets and everything. It's no, that just means the best defender is going to be on that guy. So I never really understood why analysts are always so quick to jump on.
Unless they're playing a trash team, that has a terrible secondary or something. I mean it's always and especially for wide receivers, you're saying, not usually a number one's targets don't just go to the next number one. They usually get diffused amongst all the rest of the
7 or 8 guys.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it never works out linearly most of the time running backs do. That's why it's easier to handcuff them running backs than it is to handcuff a wide receiver. So,
unless it's Darnell Mooney.
You're But
who even has Allen Robinson right now?
Nobody. I think he's on the waiver wire.
Really?
He should be. I don't know if he is or not. He's not worth picking up if he's I don't think
Adam
he's
might
playing
have
again this week. I think he's still hurt.
No.
That's right. I traded them to Adam. I don't know if Adam ever dropped him or not.
I'll probably get a trade offer for Henderson in replace of Allen Robinson. So I'll keep you updated on that.
Yeah. Hey, you might as well have the whole receiving core for the Bears.
For the Bears, that high octane offense.
High scoring. All right. Speaking of Adam, we got to move on to the next matchup. We got Hot Diggity Dog versus Ain't No Walla Back Girl. We got Hot Diggity Dog putting up 151.3 fantasy points. I suppose I'll give you that. I suppose you deserve it. Oh, you know what I didn't do at the top when I initially said that you'd be getting your $10 this week?
Alexander Hamilton.
Handmade by Benaya. That drop, a wonderful drop. I'm sorry, Benaya. I keep forgetting about that at the top of the show. I think literally every show I've remembered it later in the show and played it because I forgot to play it at the top of the show. But yes,
great.
So
I love it.
Got your $10, so congratulations. You had a couple of big games. You had Nick Folk putting up 20 fantasy points there for New England, putting up a bunch of 5 or 6 field goals. He could have had He could have had at least 4 more points. Maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah, I wonder what distance he missed. Let me see if I can figure that out.
Good luck.
53. So
he missed. Oh, that's right. It was at halftime or something, I think.
Okay. So he could have about 26.
26 fantasy points. Been monstrous. Elijah Mitchell had a 25.3 fantasy points. So like I said, I think he had 27 carries or something crazy. We have Austin Eckler, who put up 18.9 fantasy points, and then Dak Prescott put up 25.3. So those are pretty good, and no real duds
Mhm.
from his team. Literally everybody except his defense put up over 10 fantasy points. So
Wow.
really can't be mad. I mean, he scored 151 fantasy points. So can't be
Gosh, remember how long ago it seems that he spent like $80 on Mitchell? But I mean,
worth it, I guess.
I suppose now it's paying off. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, maybe I should have spent more on him.
I think it was $50. I think it was $50. So, but I mean,
It's still a lot, yeah, but probably worth it.
yeah, it's paying off now.
He's definitely scored more points than anybody else I picked up off of waivers.
Yeah, so you're I was just thinking the same.
Yeah. On Ain't No Waller Batgirl, we did have Aaron Rodgers who put up 26.28 fantasy points on a big day versus the Rams. Did you see? I don't know how much of that game you were able to see, but did you see him pull the exact same play that he did last year? The rushing touchdown where he faked the defender with the pump fake.
I did see the play. I didn't realize that was like that harkened back
Literally
to last year.
almost the exact same play. It was like it was a run pass option. Well, this one technically I don't think was it was a run pass option, but he was not designed to actually run out onto the side. But I think I heard him explaining it today. He was essentially like he saw that as soon as he faked the handoff, the whole right side of the line like collapsed, and then it was just
Mm-hmm.
him and Jalen Ramsey out on the right. And he gave Jalen the old pump fake and his way into the corner of the end zone.
And I do remember that after he scored, like Ramsey was just like it looked embarrassing. He like flailed after him and then just kind of like fell over and rolled out of bounds. And like, man, if Rodgers is making you look that bad, it's just like like there's no hope for you. But
Rodgers
no,
with 9 toes too. He's only got 9 toes right now.
that's right. Heard that. Broke the toe and not getting surgery.
Yeah, that's what he said. No, yeah, he wouldn't come out and say how he actually broke his toe, but I think it's probably. I mean, he was quarantining for COVID, so like the only thing I could think of is that he like stubbed his toe walking around the house and
Yeah.
broke, which is a possibility. It's
Yeah,
just,
exactly. Like, I
just
mean,
pink,
that probably happens a lot more often than people think.
right? So whatever, but he's fighting through it, I guess. And then the other stud on the old Ain't No Waller Batgirl was Debo Samuel, who, like we said, is now hurt, but he had like 80 yards rushing. He had 12 yards, no receiving touchdowns. He had
God.
like what was it, 3 rushes for? Let's see. Do they even have rushing stats? Yeah. 6 rushes for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. Over the last 3 weeks, he scored 4 rushing touchdowns.
That's I think 3 more than Chubb has gotten me. So it feels good.
Yeah.
Wow,
But
that's
out for a
nuts.
few weeks.
The Niners offense is just very strange.
It is. It is. Now, Ain't No Waller Batgirl did have a couple of duds this weekend. Alex Collins, who's been terrible in backup for Chris Carson, he had 1.2 fantasy points. We also had Jameson Crowder, who only put up 1 fantasy point, and Darren Waller, who only had 4.3 fantasy points. So, not so great from them.
Not much you can do, I guess. Like those are the
Yeah.
types of games where I'm like, you know what? It's fine. I lost by 60 points. I would rather lose like that than lose a nail biter. And
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that Neil's team is, and when we look at the standings, we'll probably say this again, but his team's got to be like the best, 4-8, 5-7, whatever like team we've ever seen because of all of the absolutely nail biting losses that he's had. And I think he has just as many points scored as most of us for the year. So.
Well, he did have that 1 week where he scored like 170 fantasy points. So,
Was that Neil? Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that'll definitely boost the old points for category. But yeah, I think most of his matchups have been pretty close. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but sometimes the years just fall that way. So All right, on to our last matchup from last week. We have Waddle, baby, Waddle, baby, Waddle, baby, Waddle versus my tight end Ertz when I furt.
A classic name in
Yes,
G-Bag League lore.
it
Going on
is. Yeah,
3 years, I think.
Yeah, 3 years. I think he's had that name. And at one point, I believe he did have those two tight ends. And now he does not. He hasn't since. But Waddle baby, I know. Yeah, Tyler Eifert and Zach Ertz, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Dang.
But Waddle baby did pull out this victory. He scored 115.08 fantasy points to my tight end Ertz when Eifert's 80.16. So, I apologize.
Breakout man.
Yes, this is the battle. Oh, yes, the breakout for Joe Mixon. You're darn right. It's Joe Mixon's breakout season.
That's
33 fantasy points. He's been on a tear recently. I think he had another close to 30 rushes this week. He's had a bunch of rushing attempts. Yeah, he had 28 and he had 30 last week. His last 4 games, he's put up over 23 fantasy points each of the 4 weeks. It's insane. And it's Antonio. It is a good squad. Yeah, no, you're good. Antonio Gibson, it's a good squad. Antonio Gibson is starting to find his stride again after breaking his shin earlier this year or something. He had 20.1 fantasy points. And then Cordero Patterson, like you said, he's got all the running back depth right now, 26.5 fantasy points, and they're all hitting their strides. And they can make up for every single other person on his team. Because only Devontae Adams also scored in the double digits. We had Cam Newton, who put up 6 fantasy points, Jamar Chase with 5, Mike Gesicki with 3, and Atlanta's defense and Brandon McManus, 5 and 4. Those are, defense and kickers. But, he was able to make up for a lot of those with his 3, fantastic running backs. So,
yeah, coming straight out of the offensive factory that is Chicago. Cordero Patterson just played their special teams all of last year.
Yeah.
Mostly just special teams. But that's been quite the pickup. Did he even pay anything to pick him up, or did he just grab him off waivers for free? Yeah, $0.
Yeah. It was, the first week. No, not even the first week of the season. That's oh no, I guess it is. Yeah, September. No,
I thought it was a few weeks in, but not too far.
That's 3 weeks in or so.
Mm-hmm.
Would he believe that he was decent? It was probably after week 2.
Yeah, it could be, or week 3 at the latest.
Yeah, who knows?
Man, it's been double digits every week except for the one weeks 10, 11. So
yeah. So yeah. He's been a beast, and Matt Nagy couldn't unlock him, I guess, for some reason.
That offensive guru, Matt Nagy.
Yeah, I don't know. On the other side of the ball, we have Javonte Williams, who put up 18.6 fantasy points. That was a pretty good week for him. I think Melvin Gordon was hurt for part of the game or the second half of the game or something. And Javonte had a great game. And then Adam Thielen, who seems to defy all odds and finds the end zone every single week, put up 20.7 fantasy points. Everybody else was kind of meh. Everybody else was in the single digits. Jalen Hurts only had almost 7 fantasy points, along with Miles Sanders. DK Metcalf only had 1.8. Sad game for DK Metcalf. Evan Engram had 5. And that about highlights that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of NFC East players there, and it's just, once again, it's not an enjoyable brand of football to watch. I'll just say that for the most part.
For sure not. But this definitely helps my fantasy playoff options here with my tight end. Yeah. He's been on the slow decline here.
I'm the same. Yeah, we're starting. I mean, what was it 2 weeks ago? We had 6 teams with the same record, and we're starting to get a little bit of separation now. But yeah, I don't know. I looked at some of the matchups this weekend, and I think we might see a little bit of rebound from those teams, and we might kind of draw closer to a draw across the board again.
Sure, we might see how that turns out. But before we get to those matchups, let us go to the waiver wire team that would kick all of our asses. And this week was no different. We've got Mac Jones with 21.5 fantasy points in the quarterback position. We got running back 1, J.D. McKissick with 20.1 fantasy points.
Of course.
I know.
JD.
Well, he had 2 touchdowns this week, but then I think he got hurt as well, kind of near the end of the game. Matt Breida with 12.5 fantasy points. We got wide receiver 1, Kendrick Bourne with 20.6 fantasy points. Wide receiver 2, Deshaun Jackson. Like I was saying earlier, somebody had to step up with Darren Waller out, and it was Deshaun. 17.7 fantasy points. We got Jack Doyle. Baby Hands McGee put up 17.1 fantasy points. Van Jefferson in the flex spot with 16.8 fantasy points. We got the Dolphins defense putting up a massive whopping 25 fantasy points this week. And in the kicker spot, we got Evan McPherson with 13 fantasy points. And this team will put up a total of 164.3 fantasy points. They even beat Adam this week. So the waivers are 10-2 for the year.
Wow.
So congratulations, waivers. You beat us again. Once again.
Man, 2 wins or 2 losses for the waivers this year. That's
actually that is surprising. One was the massive Neil. Actually, I think the waivers lost 2 weeks in a row. So I think Neil had the highest score one week. Okay. I forgot who had it the next week. But yeah, 2 teams did beat the waiver wire this year, so it's quite the achievement. But all right, before we move on to next week's matchups, let us check in. Now that we've went through all last week's matchups, let's check in with the standings for this week. Now, this week is the first week that we've had 3 teams lock up playoff berths. I just realized this when I was filling this out. The 3 teams at 8 and 4. I'll wait for you to put those back on.
Sorry. Actually, got you going.
Oh, you can hear me?
Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, I got going through speakers, but I was hearing echoing. My voice is echoing, so I don't know if it's fixed now, but it sounds a little better.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard it, but also the last 2 or 3 people that I've had on have sporadically heard their own echoing. So maybe might be a with my soundboard, my digital soundboard potentially. Maybe if I had a real physical sound, maybe if I had a real physical soundboard, it wouldn't be doing that. But I found a free one online that I didn't have to pay for. So
free is good. We can deal with a little bit of echo for free.
Yeah. All right. So like I was saying, Waddle Baby, locking up the a playoff berth at 8 and 4. He has 100% chance to make the playoffs. We got Hot Diggity Dog also at 8 and 4. With like we said, 100% chance to make it. They have locked up their playoff berths. Now, in the 3 spot in the East is the more the merrier, the breakout of my new team name. We've been sliding the last couple weeks, but we still got an 83% shot to make those playoffs and make the run. We got Ferris Bueller, You're My Hero at 6 and 6. Also, he has only a 33% chance to make the playoffs. So like I said, we got he's sliding here on our hands. And then my tight end Ertzwin Eifert has a 5% chance to make the playoffs. In the West Division, we've got Chubba Hubba Dubba Bubba locking up the 1 seed there. He's guaranteed his spot in the playoffs for sure. Not necessarily locking up the 1 seed, but guaranteed the spot in the playoffs. Rock the Hawk is only 1% away from locking up his spot in the playoffs. 99% chance of making it. Deshaun's happy ending sitting there at 7 and 5. He's got an 81% chance to make the playoffs. Ain't no Waller back girl and Team IR. Unfortunately, you guys have been eliminated. You are not in playoff contention at all. You have a 0% chance to make the playoffs. However, you can avoid, calendar. I believe. No, I think we have the dress and the license plate, and I'm not
Right.
sure which one is for which. I think the dress is for losing the toilet bowl. We're in to the draft, yeah. And then the regular season, which looks like it's going to be Team IR. I'm pretty sure he's locked that up already. We'll be having the license plate frame on his car for the next year. I think that's a great thing to have.
Does Adam currently have the license plate on his car, or did he have it for a while?
No, so we made that rule after the season ended, and both of the punishments went to Chad. So Chad has the license plate frame, and he wore the dress to the draft.
Man, he buried the brunt of both of those punishments then.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of it, and that's why we changed.
Okay. Gotcha.
So yeah. All right. Are you ready to lose in your matchup predictions for next week?
Yes. I know I will get one right, at least. But just one.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick the more the merrier to win, then definitely gonna get one right. So
actually did a little bit of homework and wrote these down, and I think I did actually have the more the merrier with the dub.
Hope so, because Ferris Bueller's team, especially with both of the Packers running backs that he has out this week, he doesn't really have much depth at the running back position, and his wide receivers also don't really scare me. And he's got Pat Mahomes there in the quarterback spot, but
well, you got Jonathan Taylor going against. Well, it doesn't really matter, but he's going against Houston, so
it's true.
That should be.
Yeah, and I've also got T.Y. Hilton going against Houston. Do you know what T.Y. Hilton does to Houston every single year? Just destroys them. Like,
really.
Yes.
Just a thing that T.Y. Hilton against Houston.
It's like it's a joke at this point, but like literally every single time he plays against Houston, he just dominates. Like his worst game is like 5 catches for 71 yards. It's his worst game against Houston in the last like 5 years. Like even the last like 2 years where he's been irrelevant for fantasy football, like against Houston, he's always almost guaranteed to get a touchdown and like 80 yards.
And with his absolutely terrible Houston is this year, I feel like that has to be even amplified a little bit. So I mean, we're looking at like 3 scores, 200 yards. That's my guess. Yeah. Over under 35 fantasy points.
Yeah, he played against them earlier. I think he got hurt in that game, but in the meantime, he was 4 for 4 with 80 yards and like halfway through that game.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I'll take that out of the flex this week. I have other options there, but I don't like Brandon Cooks on the other side of that matchup because Tyrod Taylor is like terrible throwing the ball. He did have the one big pass to Brandon Cooks last week, but I just wasn't feeling it. Although actually, Kamara might not start this week again, so I'll probably end up throwing Mark Ingram in the there.
Okay, this is the third running back there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, despite the woes that you've had at wide receiver, I mean, it looks like at least for this week you're in a pretty good spot. I'm feeling pretty confident on your behalf.
All right.
Like it's just not a lot of firepower, unfortunately, on the other side at the moment, especially with Packers on a bye. And with Pittsburgh playing Baltimore, I'm skeptical about Najee Harris. So, but
yeah,
we'll see. But yeah,
all right.
I got you with the dub.
Yeah,
the more the merrier. Excuse me, with the dub.
Yes. You're guaranteed to get one right then. On to matchup number 2 this week. We got Hot Digsity Dog versus Deshaun's Happy Endings. Now this one might be a little bit of a closer matchup than the last one. Like I said, I haven't really looked at these too much, so you've done your homework, so I'll let you go first.
I will say that it would help us out a little bit if they would take the players with 0.0 projected points out of their lineups and put in whoever they want to play. But true to my word, I'm going with Chad and Deshaun's happy endings solely for the fact that Adam got the top scorer this past week. So I do think it's going to be close. I do think it's not going to be as high scoring as perhaps these two high-powered teams would typically have, because there's some tough defensive matchups, like with New England, and the Saints aren't the easiest matchup, especially weird things happen on Thursday night, and I feel like often you'll see games that are like 10-6 or something stupid like that on Thursday nights where there's just not a lot of offense. So I could see the Cowboys not really putting up a lot of points, but again, that would affect CeeDee Lamb as well, most likely. Barkley going against Miami, that's a tough matchup. But
Miami's defense has been better recently for sure.
So I don't know. I can see this being like in the 105, 110 range, something like that. But I think I'm going with Chad to squeak this one out.
All right. He is doing the interesting move of Adam is doing the interesting move of currently sitting Ezekiel Elliott. And he still has Austin Eckler and Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's not doing so bad at the running back position. But, yeah, well, let's see. You're right. There are some tough matchups there. But I think Austin Eckler is going to have a good game against Cincinnati. I don't feel confident about Hawk. Antonio Brown probably isn't going to play.
Oh, I thought that was A.J. Brown. Yeah, you're right, Antonio Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown, I think there was something that came out today that said he wasn't going to play again for another couple of weeks or something. So he's probably going to have to throw either CEH or
on
the flex.
Put him in, Adam. Put in CEH, your big mid-season acquisition.
Put in Pat Freiermuth.
Oh, yeah. Good old Freiermuth.
Hey, he's projected to score almost as much as TJ Hawkinson this week. So,
yeah, he was the one that defeated me in the Monday night game a couple weeks ago.
He'll get you. He'll get you.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to go with Hot Digsity Dog here. I can't really get away.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's got the depth, and I don't think whoever Deshaun's happy endings puts in to make up for DeAndre Swift, I don't think will be strong enough to carry the load.
Yeah, I feel a little bit, even though the Pats defense has been good, I would blink maybe at having them going against the Bills this week, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows? We had the Cowboys defense going against the Chiefs a couple weeks ago outscore the Ravens defense going against Jacksonville or something like that. So you just don't know. You put them in, and whatever happens.
Cross your fingers for sure.
Yeah. And then we vote to get rid of defense special teams during this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. All right, on to matchup number 3. We got my tight end Ertzman Eifert versus Rock the Hawk. Now, I think just due to this, my tight end Ertzman Eifert has no running backs that are of note. He does have some good wide receivers. Also, he tends to not check his team.
This one's closer than when I thought. Because Eifert does have Kelsey and Hill over there. I mean, it's not the easiest matchup against the Broncos, but you gotta expect that they'll be at least somewhat close to their projected totals. So, but I had Rock the Hawk going in, so I'll stick with that prediction.
I think I'm going Rock the Hawk too.
Say that Fournette against the Falcons looks pretty juicy.
Yeah, although Adam Thielen might put up like a 30-point week. Right.
That's true against.
I don't think like he's gonna have 3 duds. I think, and well, I don't know, Javonte Williams. It depends on how much work Melvin Gordon gets this week. 99s won't do anything. DK Metcalf, the Seattle offense has been struggling. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Rock the Hawk as well.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's closer than I thought initially, though. I think that one could be a nail biter. Yeah,
for sure. All right, on to matchup number 4, we have Waddle, baby, Waddle, baby, Waddle, baby, Waddle versus 2 in a row. Maybe. I'm saying maybe. I'm not trying to jinx nobody with a yes. So let us take a look at that. This does not look like a good matchup for Team IR.
yeah. I really wanted to ride the train and say, yep, this is it. He's getting the second in a row, but man, like I said before, Benai's team it's just stacked. So I gotta go with the Waddles.
Yeah, I mean, Benaiah
he's got Joe Mixon.
I know. He said like 2 weeks ago, he was like, "Oh, my team kind of sucks." I was like, "Oh, your team is good." Look at his running backs. His running backs are insane. He's just missing a tight end. And to be fair,
Yeah.
I offered him. So I offered him. I don't know. Think about this trade. I offered him Dawson Knox and Tom Brady for Kyler Murray and Cam Newton, just so that I could have a starter for last week because Kyler was on a bye.
Okay. Yeah. That's actually that is quite intriguing, because I mean, based on previous performance, I would probably take that. When did you offer him the trade?
Before last week.
For last week, okay.
Yeah, before the games last week. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I guess Knox was hurt for a while, and so his value kind of went down a little bit. But I think like today, I would probably take that trade if I were him. But I mean, tight end's gonna be so hit and miss as well. It's tough to take Kyler Murray out of your lineup and put in a potential boomer bust tight end. But I do think that, I mean, it does seem like Knox is a real deal. So that's an interesting trade, though. I kind of like that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it would help his tight end spot. I didn't really need Dawson Knox. He's been sitting on my bench, ever since Kittle's been back. So,
right.
And to be honest, when Kittle was in my IR, Dawson Knox was hurt, I think. So, I play Dawson Knox that much because they were hurt at the same time.
Right.
But
now you can throw one of them in your flex.
Dude, I have thought about it. Like I said, my wide receivers are not great, and I don't have the running back depth to put a third running back in there for the most part.
Yeah. If you're like needing a boom option, throwing Knox out there might not be the worst idea.
Possibility, yeah. All right, so we both took Waddle Baby in that matchup.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty easy one. On to matchup number 5, the last matchup for this week, and certainly not the least matchup. We have Chubba Hubba Double Bubba versus Ain't No Waddle Back Girl. And excellent. Let us see.
Name.
Yes, it is. Very good. He grabbed Derek Carr here to put into his quarterback spot. At tight end, he grabbed Foster Moreau, the backup to Darren Waller, who actually did, when Darren Waller was previously out, did do pretty well.
Okay.
If I recall.
I saw him there, and I was like, huh. Foster Moreau. It's like the island of Foster Moreau, right?
Yes, Doctor. Yeah, the old Dr. Moreau. Yes, 310 to Puma and all that.
There we go. Need to add that to the soundboard.
Yes. We have to go back.
So great. I'm taking Neil because everything about this week feels like a regression for my team. Like, really? I'm hopefully doing a reverse jinx well in advance now, but the running back matchup looks so extremely lopsided. I mean, you got Madison against the Lions and Connor, who I should have accepted the trade for if I had traded at all. going against the Bears, and so I mean that's
potentially
his wide receivers are both better than my wide receivers. So yeah,
Pollard with an uptick in work potentially.
right.
So
the Bucks against the Falcons, yeah, this looks like a sort of a get healthy week for Neil and a week of regression for Chubba Hubba Dubba Bubba.
Yeah, to be honest, looking at your lineup,
looks
like
so
a
bad.
ragtag, the most ragtag group I've ever seen in my life.
Like I said, the
But
worst
you got
team ever.
you got the Dubs, man. You got the Dubs. I don't know how, but you made it work. Oh man, you and your fill-in running. It looks like Darrell Henderson might play though.
I mean, if he doesn't, like I think Michelle will probably have roughly the same projection because he'll be the only option then. But
yeah, so Michelle's actually been pretty good when he's gotten the shot this year.
I think the only guys I currently have on my team that are starting right now that I drafted are Josh Allen, Henderson, the Rams D, and Tucker.
Have you been rolling the Rams D the entire year?
No. I've been going week to week, but I picked them up last week because I was like, well, they're playing Jacksonville, and one of these days the whole Von Miller, Aaron Donald duo is going to wreak havoc, and hopefully it's this one.
You did not draft them.
Oh, I didn't. Oh no, I got the Steelers, right?
Yeah.
Brandon
drafted them.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So never mind.
But,
so yeah,
anyways,
Tucker, Allen, Henderson. Then
there you go.
Everyone else just table scraps.
Justin Tucker, one of the rare kickers that you want to hold through the bye.
That's true. That is true.
Well, I'm also going with Ain't No Waller Batgirl because, like you said, your team looks like a ragtag group of chumps. And, Ain't No Waller Batgirl has, made their way into some sort of feasible lineup. So we're gonna go with that.
So we just had one pick that we went.
One pick
for
that's
non.
different.
Okay.
Yeah, the hot Digsity Dog versus Deshaun's happy endings.
Okay.
I think, to be honest, these all looked like most of them looked like they were kind of pretty clear winners and losers. So we'll have to see how good we did next week.
I'd be willing to just for just for sake of competition here. I'd be willing to switch my Rock the Hawk over to tight end Ertz when Eifert. I'd be willing to switch that one if that's allowed, just to make it a little more interesting, because I was taking a second look at that. I'm more on the fence.
All right. So that's two different that we have.
We've
just
got
for
two.
one matchup. Now we've got two.
Cool.
Now we could tie again. So good work.
Yeah, it's true.
Nope, that's
Didn't
fine.
think that one.
Too late. It's already switched. Can't switch back. You can switch once.
Frick.
It's like batting. Each at bat you can only switch once. That's true, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Switches 4 times, but yeah. All right, so on to my second favorite, my second favorite drop and second favorite segment of every single week. We got mail time. Yes.
Beautiful.
All the harmonies. All right. So we just have one question, and it wasn't even this week. It was the week that Andrew, you were originally supposed to be on.
Yes, that's right.
When you were, dilly-dallying around on your honeymoon, you were supposed to be on, and Benaya asked if we had to compare the fantasy managers from our league to the backyard cast. For those of you who don't know, the backyard baseball, backyard football games, those guys, that cast of characters, who would each of them be? Now, I believe you even prepared like some sort of slideshow for us, Kortze. Would you like to?
Kind of. Yeah. It's I took some photos from Facebook and took some snips from the Google and pasted them into side-by-side collages, and then took a snip and saved them on my PC. So I got those. I got at least for half. I got half of the fantasy managers in the league. So.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can piece together the rest of them here. But first, would you like to share your screen? And I hope it shows up in the old recording. Well, we'll see.
Sweet.
I think it's good.
All right, let's do this. This is starting with the birthday boy. My pick for Ryo. And this is solely based off of the first person I thought of when I thought of each of these guys. So that is like it. It might be looks, might not be. It's just the first person I thought of for each of these guys. So
That's amazing.
there's the first one. So Ryo and Amir Khan.
Amir Khan,
Yeah,
classic.
yeah. So he's good. He's pretty good baseball. I think. Yeah.
He was.
Not
Yeah.
good Ahmed, but it's fine.
Pretty
All
good.
right.
Yeah, wasn't he like a
Next.
power hitter in backyard baseball?
What's that?
Wasn't he like a power hitter in backyard baseball? He, like,
Ahmed definitely
pretty-
was. I think Amir was more than you would think. Like he had like 3 baseballs out of 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though he's tiny. So.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Perfect.
Nice. Okay, so should I go ahead and go to the next one then?
Yeah, shoot through them all here.
All right, here we go. Here's the next one. First person I thought of, Mikey Thomas.
Mikey
I don't know why.
Thomas. Look at that.
Even the pose is kind of similar.
Look at the
Like,
photo.
here-
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Maybe it was the weird hair. Like maybe I'm thinking back, or I mean, does Adam still have the mullet? This obviously not
He
here.
does currently have the mullet. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So first person I thought of when I thought of Adam, Mikey Thomas. There we go. And I'm pretty sure that he's a power hitter and pretty good quarterback as well. If I remember correctly. I don't know. I can't remember for sure. There's like 2 sports that he's really good at, and then but he's really slow. So he's like the worst to play in baseball because you can like bang it off the fence and get thrown out.
Well,
So,
that describes Adam. Adam is slow. Put it on the record. He's still holding on to elementary school glory.
Yep.
He was the fast kid in elementary school, but he's not so fast anymore.
that's what happens when you go to Guilford.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
All right, who you got next?
next, we got Benaya and Jorge Garcia.
Yes.
And I mean, I was so happy that Jorge was the first person I thought of because I just really wanted to have him remind me of someone or vice versa. I don't know which, but yeah, this is probably the one I was most happy with.
Oh, that's
Partially because
fantastic.
we got to use this photo of Benaya. This is just phenomenal.
That's a great photo, and he's wearing his math team shirt in that photo.
You're right. I think you might recognize this photo.
I do.
I
believe
was-
I'm in the other half of it.
Yep. I was gonna say I might have done a little crop job there. I will mention that I was yesterday days old when I realized that this was a Gryffindor scarf. So pretty excited about that. Y'all should be
I'm
proud of me that I'm now gone over the deep end, being corrupted and watching Harry Potter. So
Good.
okay.
It's a good winter time activity. Do it once a year.
Oh, watching Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant math team.
A lot of people do. A lot of people watch Harry Potter every year.
Okay. Just like keep it fresh in mind. Okay. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Cool.
Nice. I like that one.
To the next one, the other half of the photo.
Tony Del Vecchio.
Sure.
Yes.
And I think part of this was like I thought of how you were as Danny Zuko in Greece. And I think that's kind of where I got the Tony vibes there. But yes, no, I thought it was great that the 2 pictures here, just one after the other. So I'll have to find somewhere in here. I've got like the actual picture of both together. So we'll have to disperse that throughout the league chat because that's a great one.
Oh, For sure. That's awesome.
All right, and then the last one is myself and Dante Robinson,
Dante Robinson.
who is
Yes.
also slow and bad at most sports. But yeah,
See, I know I gave away what I was gonna say for you already before this podcast. It was basically the opposite of Dante Robinson. I was actually since you dominate this podcast so much or this league so much, and you're basically good at everything you pick up. I picked Pablo Sanchez for the old Andrew Kortze,
Oh.
the MVP.
there's
See,
no higher compliment than one can get than being
that's-
than being comped with Pablo Sanchez. That's
you're
a
darn
fact.
right. Yeah, I was trying to think of who the rest of us would be.
Here, let me pull up
So
the.
we're missing Aaron, we're missing Chad, and we're missing Neil, and Brandon.
And Brandon, yes, yeah. So
Here's-
here's the whole roster here.
All right.
Neil, I'm getting Neil and Kenny vibes a little bit. I don't know. Just
No, I think Kenny is good for Brandon this year. His Team IR.
Team IR, perfect. Okay,
Yes.
okay. Yeah, I say let's. Yeah, I say just we'll go beyond the looks.
Because he's Asian, yeah. Because
Yes, yeah. I like that. All right, so Brandon and Kenny.
yes. Let's see. We've got Aaron, and we've got I feel like I want to say I don't know. I'd say Aaron as Dmitry Petrovich.
Okay.
Not anything to do with his looks, but he is a bit of a nerd, and Aaron does have a doctorate degree in physical therapy.
I did not know that. That's awesome. Wow.
So
Okay.
yes, I believe I'll go there. That's a little bit of a stretch, but is Dmitry Petrovich a good catcher?
He's actually pretty good at, I think, most sports. He's just a beast in football. I think he's like Keisha Light in baseball.
Oh yeah.
Like similar traits, but just not quite as good. But I think he's actually really good in hockey as well. So yeah, I would take a Dimitri comp any day. Like that's solid. I like that.
There you go. And then so we're just missing Neil and we're missing Chad.
Chad, yes.
Yeah. Let's see.
Okay, so what other guys? We got Marky, Pete, Ahmed.
Oh man, I'd say Ahmed for Neil.
Okay.
I think. Well, I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways we could kind of compare them. Like mine was mostly off of like just sort of like looks and vibe, but I kind of like the way you've been doing it as far as like some other trait of theirs, attributing it to them. So
you know what I am getting Chad vibes from either Ernie Steele or Ricky Johnson.
I like that.
Chad was the tall and lanky kid in high school, so like Ernie Steele makes sense for that.
He was a receiver, right? Chad was when he played football. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ernie was a receiver as well, I think, in backyard football.
There you go.
Cool. Okay. I like it. Chad and Ernie Steele.
Yes. And then for Neil.
There's no backyard tennis. Or is there? I don't know.
There might be. Maybe Neil's Dante Robinson.
I could see it.
I can literally see it. Or we could give him Ronnie Dobbs. He is technically out of the playoffs now. The old Ronnie Dobbs.
Ronnie Dobbs or Dante Robinson. Maybe we'll leave it up to the chat. We can ask those who made it through the whole pod the
Yeah,
whole
this is
hours
their
of the pod, see if which they think is more Neil, Dante, or Ronnie. I like that.
There we go. That's good. That's good. All right, Courts. Well, we made it. We made it through. Thank you
The
for
late
joining me.
night. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you for doing this on my later schedule. I brought
Well, to be honest,
the
it's
Wednesday
not.
night Advent close here.
Yeah, we were supposed to record this yesterday, but Comcast decided to not work at my house yesterday, so we couldn't record this via Skype. So that's why we're doing it late on Wednesday night to try to get Courts on since he missed it last time. So
I appreciate it.
glad we're able to do it. And yeah, obviously, I love having you on. I love having all you guys on, and I'm I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier. I know it doesn't look like I'm happy, but I promise I am. I'm very tired. So,
It's just 11 o'clock at night, or
yeah,
10.
we're getting there. It's getting late. So, all right, Courts. Well, yeah, like I said, thanks for joining me. We will see you guys next week. Good luck this week, except for all of you who are ahead of me in the standings. Then bad luck. And I'm hoping to gain a little ground this week. So.
Wrapping up the season already, which is insane to believe that we're already week 15.
I know.
But
I know.
right.
It's going too fast. It's going too fast.
It is. It really is.
So, as it always does. I feel like it always goes faster than you want. And then actually at the end you're kind of burnt out, but still went faster than you want.
Yep. Agreed. But no, It's a blast. Thank you. Your production value through the roof, the soundboard, the geese, everything. It's
yes,
top-notch.
Loving it. All right, boys. We'll catch you guys next week, and hopefully we will have a very tight-knit playoff contention going into the final week of the season. Good luck, you guys, and we'll see you later. See you guys.